Hey y'all, it's Rick here with Uncommon Communion. And after just 2 days of my new format, here I am recording a video again. And I'll tell you a little bit about that and why and how this evening reminds me a lot of when I was teaching. But first, let's begin as we always begin by recognizing, realizing, celebrating, and affirming that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of the more and each other. So things are getting better all the time this week. And you will remember that my wife had rotator cuff surgery what will be a week ago today, which is Friday, as I'm recording this a little bit after midnight. And it will be a week since she has had this surgery. And it has been quite a week. Monday was the hardest day, Monday evening. Tuesday, we took her back to the doctors to get her sling adjusted. And Wednesday and Thursday continued to have some improvement, quite a bit of improvement. In fact, on Thursday, we went and she got an errand run. We went to the library, pick up some books, of course. Went for a nice walk on a fall afternoon and did some important grocery shopping as well. And she has come a long way. I think the hardest thing for her has not been per se the pain, but the unknowing of whether she is doing what she needs to do or messing up the surgery, which it's a bit odd when you think about it because whether a rotator cuff fix is uh, permanent and whether it works, basically, it has everything to do with the surgeon, of course, and the whole medical team, and also very much to do with the individual who has had the surgery following the directions, being super, super careful about not moving their shoulder, keeping it in the proper position, and so forth. And I think that unknowing, that anxiety, coupled with not being able to sleep very well, has really been difficult. So I give my wife a lot of credit for enduring this in mostly good grace, and I'm going to pat myself on the back too for really being a caregiver and supportive and having a lot of patience. It got hard, especially on Wednesday. That would be the day before yesterday, as it is Friday now, of course, when I had when I had my upper second to back molar pulled. And I was completely unprepared for how intense it was. I wrote about this in Thursday's post, but I just want to underscore that I completely underestimated how how it would go. I mean, I guess intellectually I knew that to get a tooth out you need a whole heck of a lot of force. And I guess I also knew that even if I was numb, you still could feel a lot of that force, right? Because force and pain are different. So I was unprepared though for how much force the doctor used. Now, the tooth had already had a root canal, so it wasn't a full tooth. It was a crown, which he popped right off. And whatever was left, whatever the little nub was, it did have a root. The root was filled in, and he went to town. And as I wrote about, I was listening to the Bach, the very famous Bach cello. I forget what it is, but the cello piece, and it exactly is like 3 minutes long, and like 2 minutes and 15 seconds into it, it builds to a crescendo, and that is when the doc was not wrestling per se, but he was putting the force on, and my tooth popped out at that point, and it was a lot. It was intense. And the recovery yesterday was tough. I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't chew anything on this side. I had to be super careful. But fortunately, by Thursday, um, I was almost back to eating mostly what I could eat. Now I can't have things that could kind of fragment in my mouth, and popcorn is one of my favorite things, and I can't have it for 2 weeks. So it's just going to be that nice when I will be able to have it again. I don't want to just share about my life. I want to give you some value here beyond my story. And I want to share with you two little reflections that I read on Thursday. Again, these are from two of the three main things I read each morning. First one is the centering prayer, and then the second one is the Meister Eckhart. So, first, the centering prayer. Let us pray this together. Most merciful and loving God, I accept the fact that I can't fix myself. So I welcome again the gift of contemplative prayer, wherein I participate in the interior experience of moving beyond faith into the sphere of your Spirit's work, multiplying even the smallest ounce of faith into the sum of divine oneness. Yeah, there's a lot in there that I like. I love that opening line. I accept the fact that I can't fix myself. You know, I've shared with you that I am very much in 12-step recovery, multiple programs. And one of the things that I think is so remarkable about 12-step programs is, contrary to where you often find the books related to 12-step programs in the bookstore, which is the self-help section, right? It is not a self-help program. In fact, the first three steps recognize that in the first step, the first step is we admitted we were powerless over alcohol or drugs or sex or porn or whatever, and that our lives had become unmanageable. And it says that we recognize on our own, with our addiction, because of our addiction, we are a mess. We can't do it alone. So what does the second step tell us? It tells us that came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So there is something bigger than me, something more than me. And then the third step is more than me in the second step that can restore me, right? It can help me. It can bring me back to where I was before and without the addiction. And then lastly, we made a decision to turn our lives and our will over to the power greater than ourselves as we understand it. And that is the three steps, the three first steps. But I like also how this prayer says that we recognize that we can't fix ourselves. It says it is through the gift of contemplative prayer. And it says, wherein this, I have the interior experience, and mysticism and prayer and contemplation is all about experience. And it's the experience of moving beyond faith, just basic faith and trust, into the sphere, into the realm, into the existence of the Spirit's work, God's Spirit's work. And then I love this. It says that it multiplies even the smallest ounce of faith into the sum of divine oneness. So even when we approach the more with just a little bit of faith and trust, that gets multiplied, and we, in and through contemplation, can experience the more and that oneness with the more. So before I close with the other reflection that I came across today, I did promise at the top why I am recording and how this evening felt like when I was teaching. I've shared here before that I am a trainer with a nonprofit agency. And one of the things about the trainings that I do is, for the most part, they are right out of the box. And I don't have to prepare. There's no homework, and I just can go in. Except I have something slightly different tomorrow. It is a retraining of someone, and I needed to prepare a study guide. And I was so busy this week. I can't say that I put it off to the last minute, but it has to be done tomorrow. I'm going back to work for the first time in a week tomorrow. So I was working on that. And it was just that old feeling of teaching where it was like, I am going to be giving this test in the morning. I got to make sure I get it done. And that's what I was doing. And it wasn't a great feeling. I don't love that part of teaching because I was always behind. I was always stressed. I was always overwhelmed. And this evening, I didn't feel those things. But I did know that it was putting me to bed later and putting me into a place where I couldn't have the time to write. And here we are. So I want to close with the Meister Eckhart reflection and just hope for a good Friday. It continues to be a crazy time in our American current events. There is much danger, but I also think still much opportunity. And I think this prayer kind of reminds us of that. When I lose myself in fear and its other side, blame, you, God, tell me to take my being, me, and give it to your being, you, which is ever full of unbecoming isness and unnameable nothingness, so that together we might become a single and simple being we. Being we. All right, y'all. Have a good Friday. I will be back again with you soon. Blessing and good. Be bold. Be well.